Gauge Brownies, it is a Verd back with you again, and I'm here just giving you guys a little recap to the final kind of list that I came up with of the 60 cards for the fun TCG draft league that we were doing. If you guys want, you can go check out the draft recap. It was like an hour and a half with myself and Jordan. A lot of fun. I will try and put my team kind of up on the side of the screen here so you can see the picks that I went with and what I've decided to actually kind of make deck-wise. So the whole premise, I guess, of my deck was to try and highlight the strength of Dark Box in this format. Primarily using things like the Weavile with the Shadow Connection ability that allows you to move Dark Energy wherever you want around the board, and combine that with something like the Charging Up Naganadel, which can take an energy from the discard and attach it to the Naganadel, then the Weavile can move that energy, as well as some other cards. And then combining some more consistency cards, so things like the Let Loose Mars Shadow, the Oranguru, and of course the Tapu Lele GX into that. And we've kind of come up with this concoction here. Honestly, pretty happy with how it turned out. A lot of people have been saying they're really impressed with this deck. In a lot of the testing they've done with this deck, it has performed pretty well, so I'm excited to see how it actually goes in some of the games that I play, for sure. So let's just run down, I guess, all the cards that are in here. I'll start with the basic core of the deck, and then we'll build onto all the tech things, and then go through the items and whatnot. But yeah, let's break this down. So obviously the deck does revolve around this Weavile. I can only run one copy of it, but I am running 2 Sneasels because I did get Lana's Fishing Rods. There's a chance that even if Weavile gets knocked out, I have a way of getting it back up onto the field of play if needed. Shadow Connection obviously is the most busted attack ability. Allow me to move any dark energy that I want across my field. I was really annoyed. The one thing that I wish I had got in retrospect was one of the Rainbow or Aurora energy, because if I had done that, I think that this would have been a much stronger deck overall. However, I don't mind the basic energy counts, it's all good. Shadow Connection incredibly strong, and this Weavile combos very well in the early game with a lot of other cards. The main thing it's going to combo with, like I said, is not that Naganadel, it is this Naganadel here, the Charging Up Turning Point Naganadel. So Charging Up allows us to take any energy, any basic energy from our discard and attach it to this Naganadel. With 3 energy on it, Turning Point does 80 damage, and then does an extra 80 if I have exactly 3 prize cards remaining. There are a few really niche ways that I can get to 3 prize cards remaining, so this can be incredibly solid. The other 2 Naganadels that I'm using, I've got the Stinger Naganadel in here. Not really overly to use for Stinger. What I like about it is it's another big 210 HP Pokemon. Jet Needle for 110 is actually pretty solid damage against the current meta, and Beast Raid for just 1 energy is a really solid attack to go for in the early game. If I open with a Poipole, I'm just spamming Spit Poison, but I have a few Ultra Beasts on my bench, then Beast Raid can start doing some big damage. There are very niche situations where Stinger can be good. I did draft the Blacephalon with Fireworks Bomb to try and take advantage of it, so maybe there are times when I can work that into my favor. We'll have to wait and see. But the main other Naganadel that is fantastic for this deck is Ultra Conversion. Super busted card because I have so many Ultra Beasts in this deck that I can discard and use to draw 3 cards. Venom Shot is incredibly strong, especially in the early game if my opponent's trying to get a big Pokemon set up. I can normally pump out a Venom Shot by my 2nd turn, which is crazy good. So this is a really, really solid Pokemon to have in here. And then I was able to get 2 Poipoles, who took the Spit Poison because it's the best starter that we can ask for, but I also grabbed the Belt Poipole because sometimes that 10 damage at the start can actually be really impactful to getting certain knockouts, like say against, for example, Oranguru, just as a general card. I can do 10 damage, that takes down to 110, and that means that I can then evolve into this Naganadel GX and knock out the Oranguru and put some pressure on my opponent, so that can be really nice. In terms of other important cards, we've got the Tapu Lele here with the Wonder Tag. When I put this onto my bench, I can search for a supporter card and add it to my hand. There are 2 main supporters I need Lele to search for in this game for me. If I can get to this Lele by turn 1, then I'm in a really good position, I think, to win the game. I'll put myself in a position to just put in some serious work. I decided to go with the Water Sneasel. You'll understand why a bit later on, but Agility is also a really solid attack, so I definitely do recommend that. I got the Zorua line in here. I got the Hide in Shadows one. Didn't really matter which Zorua I got, but I went with the Hide in Shadows. Just in case I open with this thing, I can switch into something else that I'd rather attack with in the future. Early game can be really solid. And then that's paired with the Zoroark GX with the trade ability, obviously discarding 1 card, drawing 2, similar to what we have with Cinccino. And then Righteous Beating is an incredibly strong attack, does 20 for each Pokemon in play, so can do up to 120 damage, which is a really relevant number in the meta. And then Trickster GX is actually really strong because I can choose one of my opponent's Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack, which I believe can also copy Trickster can copy a GX attack, so there could be some really cool niche moments with Trickster that I could copy. We'll have to wait and see for sure. There's definitely one matchup where I feel like Trickster could come in handy, but we'll see. We'll see if it comes up. Other than that, it's just a really solid consistency card. Like I said, I got the Blacephalon in here. This is probably like a card that I was iffy on using, to be perfectly honest with you, but I like it because it can be used on a Stinger turn. I don't have Beast Ring because I wasn't able to draft it, so that is making it a bit difficult, but it isn't too hard to set up. Like, I can attach an energy to it, I can use an Naganadel to recharge and then attach to it, and it's good to go. And on that 3 prize turn, it can be really impactful to get certain damage. You can just get a knockout as well, which can be super important, so I don't mind it. Let Loose Marshadow is just really, like, it's pretty straightforward. I'm only running one of these bad boys, but he is just super, super strong. Basically, put it onto your bench, and it's like Judge, we both shuffle our hands on deck. So, turn 1 playing this can be really good to disrupt my opponent and prevent them from having too many outs to that situation, which I like. Heading up to the top here, we got some pretty cool Pokemon. So, I got the Noibat with a Destructive Sound attack, so I can get rid of all the item cards in my opponent's hand, which can be really clutch. And then I paired it with the Noivern GX, and I really like this Noivern because the deck that I was running already focused around Psychic and Dark Energy, which Noivern also focuses around, so it was perfect. Distort is fantastic, 50 damage, I can't play item cards, so stops me from getting like Dole Locked or any crap like that. And the Sonic Volume is also quite nice, 120, again, like that really important number to hit. And my opponent can't play any special energy cards from their hand during the next turn, which can be incredibly crucial. And Boom Burst actually has some synergy with Blacephalon, being able to do 50 damage to everything on the bench, and then Blacephalon obviously doing 120 to the bench at a stage as well. So they can combo quite nicely. Like if I lose a Pokemon knockout, I bring up Noivern, I go for Boom Burst GX, and then I bring up Blacephalon and go for Fireworks Bomb. It is potential to happen, so I do like that little combo that's in there. Got the Instructor Rangaroo, just primarily because Instruct is busted. I can kind of play out my hand really early in the game with some of the cards you'll see, and then Instruct becomes really broken, just getting me into more cards. I can just thin through my deck really quickly. So in a bind, it is very effective. Psychic is also a really nice little attack to go for as well. Does 20 more damage times the amount of energy attack to your opponent's active. So if they had, say, like 3 energy attached, then I'm doing 120 here with a Rangaroo, which is, you know, it's damage. You know, we take it. Any form of damage is good. We got the Restoration Darkrai. I'm a bit on the fence about this guy. I think he is really good. I just haven't had many niche moments to use him. Restoration, though, is super busted because bringing it back, getting another energy on the board is obviously the crazy part about this Darkrai. 130 is a very important number to hit too, because that does knock out things like Buzzwole, and I did draft Choice Band, so Dark Cleave with Choice Band is enough to knock out the Dene GX, which is super important. Restoration, though, is great because it combos so nicely with the Naganadel and the Weavile to get a lot of energy back on the board to declare attacks. Dark Cleave, not being affected by weakness or resistance, is nice too. And then Dead End GX does have one little niche. I can combine Dead End GX with a Spit Poison from my Poipole, so I can poison an opponent's Pokemon and then Darkrai can come up and just dead end it potentially next turn, which could be nice. Got 2 of the Red Banquet Guzzlord. I initially had 1, but I decided to chuck in a second because 1 can always be used as discard fodder for my Ultra Conversion or for things like Trade or some of the other trainer cards that will be coming later on. It's actually a decent Pokemon to start with in the game as well. Like Mountain Munch can be really impactful, milling the top card of the deck. And if I can get that energy acceleration going, then Red Banquet is obviously a very strong attack to be going for in the early game, taking 2 prizes on a non-GX, which is just insane. Can definitely skew the prize trade into my favor. Then we also have the big Guzzlord GX. This is probably one of my favorite cards that I've been testing with because Glutton GX is kind of insane. Glutton GX in combination with Naganadel GX's Turning Point is super strong. So Eat Sloppily can be quite nice because I run double Fishing Rod to get cards back. I can discard the top 5 cards in my deck. If I find any energy there, I can attach them. This means if I find Psychic Energy, I can also attach it, which is interesting. Tyrannical Hole is okay for the damage, like it's 5 energy, so you would expect it to do more. But the Glutton GX is actually really, really strong in the format. Because I don't even need to use this Guzzlord early game. I can actually afford to lose some Pokemon and then use Blacephalon to chip everything in range with Fireworks Bomb. So then next turn I can bring up the Guzzlord GX and then go for Glutton GX on, say my opponent's got 3 prizes, I've got 4 prizes remaining, and they've got a GX in play. I just put enough damage onto that GX to where I can go Glutton GX and then knock it out. And that's just insanely good. When that Pokemon gets knocked out, I take an extra 2 prizes, so I knock out a GX, I get to take 4 prizes. If I knock out a basic Pokemon, I get to take 3, which is really strong early game. Super busted card. And the last Pokemon to talk about is Hoopa GX. This, from what I've done in my testing, is the best Pokemon to open with. Out of everything in my deck, Rogue Ring is nuts, especially since I took Marshadow and I took Reset Stamp. So there is not a whole lot of disruption actually left in the game to be able to prevent me from getting the exact cards I need into hand to make Rogue Ring as busted as possible. Darkstrike is also really solid. Like I said, that 160 is a very, very good number. And Devilish Hands GX can actually be really nice as well. It is 10 damage short of being able to pick up a lot of GXs in the meta, but I think that if I can use Blacephalon again to get some chip damage off on things, then Hoopa can surprise and get a few really clutch knockouts. But the Rogue Ring is the whole like big caboodle. I just attach an energy, start setting up my board, and then use Rogue Ring to basically lock in the cards I exactly need for next turn to pop off. So yeah, Hoopa is insane. So that's the Pokemon line done. Feeling pretty happy with them. And then we go down to the Trainer and Energy lines. So in terms of Ball Search, double Cherish Ball, double Ultra Ball for sure. Like super consistency, gives us 4 outs in our deck immediately to finding that Tapu Lele. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but in this format that's a lot, so that's really good. If we can't get to Lele GX turn 1, that's okay, because we do also just run the Professor Oak setup. That is the card we're trying to hunt for with the Lele GX, because on the first turn we can use Professor Oak's setup to get the Sneasel, the Zorua, and the Poipole down to get us cooking. Ideally, if there was another type of Poipole that I could have picked up, I probably would have tried to pick it up, because then it could have given me double Poipole on a turn. That wasn't the case, but if I don't need Zorua or Sneasel on a turn, I do have access to the Noibat or the Oranguru, or if I don't need the Zorua, I can just grab any of the other Dark Boys that I need in a certain situation. Got double Field Blower because we don't like those items, tools. Let's get them out of here. Also, it's really good to bump stadiums without having to sacrifice my own stadium in play. I might just want to remove a shrine, but then force them to play down their second shrine. I know that's in deck. And then when I bump that with my Altar of the Moon, even if one of my other Altar of the Moons is prized, I know that I'm safe. So that's pretty nice. The double Linus Fishing Rod is insanely good here because I run double Stealthy Hood and 1 Choice Band. So being able to recycle those items is very, very nice. Especially the Pokemon too, though, because it means I can be a bit more aggressive with the Ultra conversions. Knowing that I have ways to get the cards back, it also means I can be more aggressive with Eat Sloppily to get cards back, for sure. Double Reset Stamp, busted card as we know, and I'm the only person that can use it, so really, really good card in a bind. As far as stadiums, I have Altar of the Moon, so any Pokemon that has Psychic or Dark Energy attached to it has 2 less retreat. This does factor into Pokemon that have special energy attached to them, so I've got to be careful of that, but it is what it is. This allows basically everything I have in play to have free retreat. I think it's just the Guzzlords that maybe don't, but I'd rather just keep them in the active attacking and swinging. Gives things like Zoroark free retreat. I think Hoopa just has a 1 retreat cost after that. Darkrai's free retreat. I think Noivern already has free retreat, which is nuts. Weavile has free retreat, and so would the Lele, and both the Nagas, because they're only 1 retreat cost. Also, it means a lot of those cards, like Weavile and Naga, have free retreat, even if an Absol is down, which is super nice. I got double Acerola, super duper strong card. Can be really handy if I'm out of hoods and I have no way to recover them. I can just Acerola back Weavile or something to hand, have it fully healed and benched on the next turn to start doing Shadow Connection shenanigans again, so that's super nice. 1 Lusamine, I was thinking about running 2, but I just don't think it's worth it. The 1 is just fine because it allows me to get back not only my supporters but my stadium, so it gives me that good chance of recycling Altar of the Moon, so I always have the stadium advantage over my opponent. So that's super nice. And then the other supporter that I run, busted supporter, is Red and Blue Tag Team. For this deck, this is the ideal thing. So the whole premise is that turn 1, you use Tapu Lele to get you Oak Setup. And Oak Setup gets you all the things you need on the board. And then all you need in that next turn is red and blue. And that's why Hooper is the best opener, because Hooper guarantees red and blue as well as guarantees you the other GX that you want, right? So you search through your deck and you get a red and blue onto either Zoroark or Weavile, and then you're going to have the other GX in hand. So you pop both of them down, you start getting the engine going, and you'll have... There's a potential to have 4 energy... Actually, no. Potential to have up to 5 or 6 energy on your board by turn 2, which is just crazy. I've gotten off the turn 2 Glutton GX before, and it's just devastating. The opponent doesn't really have much they can respond with, which is great. Running the one choice band, because it does improve some damage calculations against certain Pokemon, so I do like that a lot. Double Stealthy Hood, because we want to stop things like Shadow Box, the Ninetales that Mitch has from Gusting, stopping the Wheezings and Coughings from doing damage in Adrian's deck. Lots of different cards can be super handy for that. We've got 11 Dark and 2 Psychic to finish off the list. The 2 Psychic are primarily to be used with the Naganadel GXs, as well as being niche for the Blacephalon or the Noivern, depending on which ones I need at the time. So yeah, that's the list, guys. The one thing I was maybe contemplating was dropping the Noivern line and putting in the Sharpedo line, just to test it, see how I feel, but Sharpedo's damage output was a little bit underwhelming, so I didn't really feel like it was needed at all, so I just went without it. Feel really happy with this list though, feeling pretty confident. I've got some games lined up where basically we did a lot of fun games while we were in call, so I haven't recorded the audio or anything for those games, and I'll just commentate over the actual gameplay. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, liked the video, all that good stuff. I'm looking forward to showing you guys some games for this deck. I think it is honestly so strong and so much fun to play with. I never got to play with a lot of these cards, and seeing how powerful they are in the card in this format is nuts. So thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Bird. I'm out this bitch.